Hi guys, I'm Tony Rodriguez and today I will be your EncounterSmith. In this video, we're going over another Roll20 tutorial where we're talking about how to input any monster into Roll20 for your D&D game. Now, you can put any monster into Roll20, whether it's one you made up, one you found on the internet, or official monsters from D&D, like from the monster manual or any other published material out there. And put it into Roll20 so it interacts like all your other players and NPCs that you already have in there. So for example, I own the Monsters of the Multiverse book. I own this book, and if I really wanted to, I can actually buy this book again through the Roll20 store and have those stat blocks already available to me in the compendium. But I don't want to buy the same book again. So I'm going to take a monster from this. Today we're going to do the Frost Salamander from this book and put it into Roll20 so I can use it in my next D&D game. So let's get started on that. Okay, here we are in my mostly blank Roll20 game. And to kick stuff off, we want to just create a new NPC stat block. So in the top right of your Roll20 game, you're going to click on plus character. Now, we're not making an actual NPC or a player character sheet. We want to make a monster. But you're going to start it out the same as if you were making a character. So in name, we're not going to use that default name. We're going to call this the Frost Salamander. I like saying Frost Salamander. And when we hit save changes, it's going to bring us to the character sheet. And it's going to give us three options. Now, we don't want to use the character mancer and we don't want to edit the sheet directly because that'll assume we are making a player character, picking a class and all that. We don't want that. We want to hit create an NPC button, and that's going to give us our very traditional looking stat block. So once we click that, we come to the character sheet options. Let's see if we can see this. Maybe we'll make this a little bit bigger so we can see it a little bit better. Now, when you open this up, you'll see a couple of things that look really familiar. It's all the stuff that's at the top of your traditional stat block. So if you are getting your stat block from a book like me, or even easier, if you're actually getting the stat block from the internet, or if you own a book on D&D Beyond or something, this step is a lot easier for you because you can kind of copy and paste a lot of this because it's just information. A lot of this stuff at the beginning isn't actually like mechanically going to work within Roll20. Name, NPC type, armor class, the type of armor if that matters, hit points, speed, the formula, all that stuff is just text. So I'm going to quickly manually put that in. So that's all its information. For its attributes, you want to put in the same numbers you see on your stat block again. Don't worry about the modifiers. Putting in those base numbers as if you were making a normal character sheet, they'll make the modifiers automatically for you. So we'll go down the line again. And then for the saving throws, you want to do the same thing. So if you look right under that thick line in your normal stat block, you'll see that if it has proficiencies in saving throws, you'll put those in. So you'll only put in the ones that have proficiencies. For its skill proficiencies, it has a +4 in perception. So we're just going to find perception, do a +4. And then again, same thing for its vulnerabilities, its resistances, its immunities. It's just information, right? Like you're still going to have to apply that at the table. It's not going to do it for you. Every monster is going to have a passive perception. So you're going to put that in here as well with the passive perception of 14. Pretty easy stuff. And its proficiency bonus is usually the bottom. Now these boxes down here, if you click these boxes, it's just going to leave a space on the stat block later on for us to fill in if they have any of these things. So like spell casting, it's going to give a section for you to like kind of put spell slots in. Bonus actions, reactions, legendary actions, mythic actions is just going to categorize a section on the stat block to put all that information there for you. And for mythic actions, you can see they're so variable, they kind of just give you a box to put all that text in. Again, all of this is much easier if you are getting the stat block from somewhere else on the internet. You can just copy and paste. But this monster doesn't actually have any of these. So we're going to continue on to the general options. Now, these are pretty important. You always want to hit NPC, right? Roll query. So whenever you're rolling anything with these monsters within Roll20, I usually always have roll with advantage. So if I have advantage, I'll pick the highest number. If I have disadvantage, I pick the lowest number. If it's a straight roll, I'll just pick the left number. If you don't like rolling with advantage when you're actually supposed to be rolling straight, some people are really bothered by that. You can hit toggle advantage, and on the stat block, it'll come up with buttons so that you would click a button if it has advantage right before you roll, then I'll roll it with advantage. But I always just leave it and always roll advantage. This is another important one. Whisper rolls to GM. By default, it's going to say it never whisper rolls. What that means is whenever you roll anything from this stat block, it's just going to put it in the chat along with everyone else's. Now, I'm not going to discuss whether you should roll in front of your players or not roll in front of your players, or whether you should or shouldn't fudge rolls. I'm not going to discuss that. But however you like to run that, this is how you can make that possible. Personally, I just like to have all my rolls whispered to me. So I hit always whisper. And then auto roll damage. I usually don't like to auto roll damage, because I'll show you how you roll damage if you hit later on. And then NPC name in rolls. That's pretty cool. So yeah, you can show or hide that. That's cool. I'm gonna leave it on show. Dex tiebreaker thing is, it's basically saying if it ever ties when you roll the initiative button with something else, it'll automatically compare the dex values and then organize them in the initiative tracker that way. Now under that, you'll see this yellow dotted line, and you'll start to see what the stat block is actually going to look like when we finish it, when we complete it. And it's going to have all of that information that we're used to seeing, armor class, all that stuff we input above is going to be right here, displayed in a very familiar way. But now we're going to get into its abilities and actions. Under the first line, that's usually where they have their abilities, and then there's a line for actions. You see this plus and lock button. So the plus is just adding it. This monster does have one ability, so we're going to add that. And again, it's mostly text-based. So we are going to call it what it's called, which is Burning Fury. And again, there's no button clicks along with this ability. It's just information for you to have. When the salamander takes fire damage, its freezing breath automatically recharges because it has a recharge ability. We'll talk about how to do that later, which is cool. So once you click off of it like that, it'll show you a little preview of it, and then you can just click this gear icon. Now, real quick before we continue, if this video has helped you out at all, think about giving it a like, as that really helps me out. But more importantly, Roll20 has been coming out with a lot of updates lately, and they're planning on so much more. People at Roll20 have even reached out to me and thanked me for some of my tutorials, and the only thing I've really asked them for in return is some open communication. So as they're coming out with all of these features, I can give you the most accurate information on how to best utilize them. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you'll always know when these new features are coming out and how to best utilize them. Now let's get back to the tutorial. Now that we did that, we're going to start working on its actions. So the first actions we see, like most decently high level monsters, is they're going to have a multi-attack routine. And so we're just going to put that, we're just going to type that in again, because that is just information that, we are recalling. So the salamander makes 1 bite attack and 4 claw attacks. 4 claw attacks. Wow, that's a lot of dice to be rolling, and you don't want to roll all those dice when you're playing online. And that's why you want to put your monsters in Roll20. See, this was all on purpose, I swear. And then you click the icon, and then that's, double click this gear, and it just gives you that information, just like in every stat block. Now that we're actually start doing some attacks, we're gonna do something different. So we're gonna click the plus to add our new action, and we're gonna work on its bite attack first. And because this is an attack of something that's actually going to interact with the mechanics of Roll20, right? We're gonna click this button and it's gonna roll dice for us. We wanna hit this attack box. We wanna click that. Now, if it's not an attack roll, if it's a saving throw or an ability that works in a different way, you just wanna put it in here. Just want to type out the information in here. And then if it's going to do damage, you can still put that damage down here. But bite is going to, and we'll talk more about that when we do freezing breath, but bite is an attack roll. So we're going to click the attack, and you'll see we'll get some more information. So under type, it's just going to say if it's melee or ranged. This is a melee attack, but it's going to have reach. So we want to put the distance here, just so whenever we click the attack, it's going to give us all this information, just so we can make sure that we can actually make these attacks, and we're making sure we're following the rules. So bite has a reach of 15 feet, which doesn't make sense to me. This is a very slinky like salamander, but sure. So to hit, it has a +9 to hit. Target, it targets 1 target. On hit, it's going to do 2 types of damage, and you can see here that it's giving us 2 types of damage. So it's going to do 1d8 piercing damage +5. So you're literally just going to type it in just like that. The number 1, the letter D, the number 8 +5, and in that box, Roll20 will take that and then use it in their dice system and roll that for you. This attack does 2 different types of damage, so we're going to make sure that this part of the damage is piercing, and the second part is cold damage, which is just 1d10, and then we'll put cold in here. And then this doesn't have any additional effects. If it did have an additional effect, like a poison sting, right? If it hits and then you have to make a saving throw, you would put all that information in the description. So just like the other ones, we're going to double click the gear to say that we're done with that. Its second attack, which it can do 4 times, is its claw attack. So we'll just type in claw. You know, we'll do the exact same thing. This one's obviously going to be a lot simpler because it only has 1 damage type. It is also a melee attack. It has a little bit shorter reach of 10 feet. So again, we want to put in that information. So we are calculating those distances correctly. And then we're done with that. So now all of these abilities are kind of ready to go. To demonstrate that they work. So now that we've built out these attacks, let's do a multi-attack. We're gonna click the word, and this is the same way it'll work when the stat block is complete. We'll click the word bite on our stat block, and then you see we roll bite damage naturally with advantage. So, and if you highlight over the numbers with your mouse, it'll show you the math it did. It rolled a d20, it added 9, and it got 15. Because it automatically rolls with advantage, it did it twice. If this was just a straight roll, I would just check this left number. Again, if you don't like it rolling with advantage, you can change that up here. Okay, let's say a 15 does hit. We're gonna click the word attack. That is automatically gonna roll our damage. See, we did 11 piercing and 6 cold. Again, if we hover our mouse above those numbers, it'll show us the amount it did. So we rolled the D8, we rolled a 6, we added 5, it got that 11 piercing. And then over the cold damage, we rolled a D10, it got 6. That's how it works. And then, you know, since we have multi-attack, we would then make all these claw attacks. It looks like we got a couple natural 20s, which I'm glad because I want to show you how it works. So again, we're doing the method where it's automatically going to roll with advantage. So in this second claw attack, we rolled with advantage. So I'm going to click the attack button. So what it did automatically for crit damage, it rolled the normal damage, right? 1d6 plus 5, and then it applied the default crit rules of just adding another damage die. So if we see the plus 5, we saw that we just rolled an additional d6 and added the 5. Now that we learned how to build attack rolls and apply them in the game, we're gonna look at its freezing breath weapon. So we're gonna add, it's an action, so we're just gonna add another action. We're going to call this freezing breath. And what we're not going to do this time is click the attack button because we're not rolling a d20 for this, right? It's a saving throw. So we're literally just going to type in the information straight from the monster manual. I almost forgot, right next to freezing breath, we're going to put recharge 6. Also, I have another little trick for recharge we will do right after we build the freezing breath attack. We are just going to put in all of the information first. With that typed in, it just says the salamander exhales chill wind with a 60-foot cone. Each creature in that area makes 17 con save, taking 8d8 cold damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. And then to actually roll that damage underneath of the description box, we're going to put the actual damage it does. So like in the description, it's just 8d10 and it is cold damage type. Now that it's done, we're just going to, again, double click this gear icon. So if we click that, what it's going to do is give us all the information we just typed in, right? And then it's automatically going to roll that damage. So funny enough, it actually rolled very close to the average damage, rolled 43 damage, right? Everyone would then make their saving throws. If they failed, they take the 43. If they succeeded, they would take half of that. Okay, so for my little recharge trick, I'd kind of just make another action for it, right? And it gets to roll that at the beginning of its turn every time for recharge. So I just make another action. And under damage, I just put 1d6. And for the damage type, I just type recharge. So for this, I just put that the Freezing Salamander recharges its breath weapon on a 6, and I just made that kind of the same ability we did for the Freezing Breath weapon itself. And I'll double click that. And for me, I like to move this up towards the top of the actions because it's something I'm going to do at the beginning of each of its turns. So to do that, we can hit this little lock and then grab this bit right here, and we can kind of change the order of everything. So I put that even above multi-attack and hit the lock again to get out of that. And so now that recharge 6 is up here, we can click that just like we did our freezing breath attack. And it says, you know, we rolled a 2, so it doesn't get its breath weapon back. So with that, our Frost Salamander is complete, except don't think I didn't notice, because I didn't until just now, that I spelled Frost Salamander wrong. Okay, fixed it. When you're done with the stat block, you just scroll up to the top and you hit this little cogwheel, and this is the stat block you will be using in game. If it makes a saving throw, that it has saving throw proficiency. So like if it makes a Constitution saving throw, you can just click the con +8. Gonna roll with advantage, the d20 +8. If it has to do with saving throw that it's not proficient in, like, charisma, you just hit the charisma button as its saving throw, and it's just going to apply the d20 and its modifier of -2. So this is our ready to go NPC stat block ready for combat for your Roll20 D&D game. But there's one major issue. See, now even though under our journal tab we can see the Frost Salamander stat block, if we just try to drag it and drop it onto our battlefield, doesn't really look like a Frost Salamander, right? Now, if you want to know how to attach some art as a token and then also link certain things from the character sheet like HP bars and AC values to the token itself to make it really easy to use, be sure to check out this video where I talk about everything you need to know about getting in and assigning tokens into Roll20. And if this whole time you were like, actually, I need to know how to do this with a character, in this video, I talk about everything you need to know about the basic D&D character sheet for Roll20. So check out one of those if that's interesting to you. Thanks so much for watching.